Welcome back everyone, I'm Joe, Data Science Building Blocks. Today I'm delivering this short video to put a bow on the Excel unit before we move on to more advanced topics in other applications. We may come back to Excel later just to help you connect the dots for some things, but for today we're going to pick up where we left off and go over 6 quick things. How to 1. Format Excel cells using the Excel standard. 2. Some auto formulas like autosum that we only touched on briefly so far. 3. Sparklines. 4. Slicers. 5. Breeze panes. And 6. Adding a custom ribbon. So we'll pick up where we left off. I'm here in this folder. I had it saved on my desktop. We don't need this comma separated values worksheet if you have that one saved on your computer. Just open up Data Science Building Blocks 2 if you've been following along. If you haven't, you can just pay attention to the video. You don't actually need this to grasp all of these concepts. So we're here. The first one I want to talk about, freezing panes. If this macro is in your way, you can right click it and then drag it, move it out of the way. To freeze panes, just go to row 2, go to view. You can do freeze panes. And then if you click freeze panes now, it should do the top row, but if you didn't select row 2 and your cursor was somewhere else on the screen, you could just do freeze top row. And now when I scroll down, it keeps your columns. To format this a little more nicely, you can bold it, and this is nice for users when you have really long worksheets. Okay, second thing, autosum. So if I wanted to autosum any of these columns, for whatever reason, and add like a total or something, you can go to, believe that there is a formula called autosum, so you can do that on the column and it will grab everything. I'm also going to show you a shortcut, and if I want to do it on the carb column, I can do Alt equals on Windows and that will autosum it as well. So just click enter. As you know, if we wanted to sum up everything, we can then just drag like that, go to home, click the comma, hit this button to remove decimals, and we can select this whole row and do a Control B or click here to bold it as well. That's number 2. Third thing, using Excel standard formatting. This is a really nice thing that I encourage everyone to use. I don't think it's used enough. If you have a user input field of some kind, you can make this field here by selecting everything, this whole column, inputs by doing cell styles and clicking input. And if everyone uses this Excel standard here, then right when you open up a worksheet, you'll know exactly what's an input, what's a calculation, what's there to be a check, what's linked if you have a formula linked to another cell. So I'll do it for some of these. These are all just explanatory, and this is what I would call explanatory. So cell styles, explanatory. This is conditionally formatted, so we can leave that one. These are explanatory. You might consider this a formula because we have an if statement in here. It's not linked to any other tab, so we can highlight everything and call it a calculation or an output possibly. I like calculation here. Certainly if you were going to do some math like add cylinders and carb, or cylinders and gear or something, that would be a calculation. So you can click calculation, drag it down, and there you have that. So cylinders plus gear. F2, you can see that's what's happening. Okay, the other thing, Sparklines. This is really only useful if you have trended data, so it doesn't make much sense for this data here, but if we had a little trend, like a month by month trend, you can insert Sparklines here, do a line, select your data range, and Sparklines to be placed here, and click OK. So this might make more sense for the last data set we used, where we'd actually have a trend, months in the columns, and numbers for each of those months the trend, it would make sense to see it here at the end, but this doesn't really do us any good because we don't care about the trend here for MPG to cylinders to disp to HP. The trend looks the same for everything, but this is how you would do it if you had months across the top and actually data underneath it. Next thing, slicers. Okay, to use slicers, stay on your insert tab here. Let's just click on column P and remove these sparklines. They're not useful to us in this case. So actually that didn't work. If I select them all and do clear contents, that doesn't work either. So let's just delete column P altogether. Right click and delete it, and then they go away. Move the macro back up here. Okay, to use slicers, let's actually put we have to format as a table, so let's put a label on column A. Let's call it car. Select all the data. Go to home, format as table, and then click your table. Should keep your formatting. Delete the total row. We don't want that in our table. Okay, now we have a pretty clean table with everything that we want. You can delete N and O if you want to. We don't care about those anymore. That was just for demonstration. So A through M, now we can put a slicer on this thing by going to Insert, Slicer, and then selecting what you want to filter by. You can have this off to the side if we want to do cylinders, horsepower, and AM description for manual or automatic. We can do that. And now we have these nice check boxes here. I'm just going to move them off to the side just by selecting and dragging. Zoom out a little. I know it's going to get small, but bear with me. You have to click it and then drag. Okay, so now they're all here, and you can see that if I just want to do 6 cylinders, I click 6 and it filters everything on 6 cylinders. If I want to just do manual, well, now I'm filtered on 6 cylinders, manual, and you can see that we have between 110 and 175 highlighted here. If I just want to do 110, that doesn't appear to work, but 175 does appear to work. Looks like that the 110 might be a 4-cylinder. Or automatic, potentially. Yes, it is automatic. So here I'm filtered on 6-cylinder automatic or manual, and 110 and 175. Last thing I want to show you, I will clear all the filters first. Clear filters from horsepower, clear filters from cylinder. You can see them all change here. I could have also accomplished that if I click the back arrow by clicking this clear filter here. And one other note, if you hit this button here, it will allow you to multi-select or select off of it. So I clicked it, select automatic, select manual. You can see that this is single select. If I click this, now it's multi-select. Okay, next thing, after I clear all filters, looks like everything is cleared. I want to show you how to add this custom ribbon. I only have one thing on it. It's a tab color. If I click yellow, this changes the tab down here to yellow. So if I have multiple tabs, I can point somebody to, say, the yellow tab like I just did. But you can add a number of things here on this custom ribbon if you want. Go to File, More, Options, Customize Ribbon. You can do a new tab here or new group. So if I did a new tab, I can call this custom, or if I am putting a certain group of items under here, I can label it appropriately. But for now, I'll just change it to custom 2. And the group under this can, again, be called whatever you'd like, whatever's pertinent, but I'll call it custom 2 again. And then you can start to put all of these popular commands underneath it. So if I add macros under here and the autosum, for example, and then click OK. Now I have a custom 2 ribbon with these 2 items underneath it. So that puts a bow on our Excel unit for now. I hope that these are useful to you and you can make use of them when using other data sets. Doesn't always make sense for this data set, but they will when you have different types of data in your Excel worksheet. So save your work, keep sticking with us, and I'll see you in the next one.